I've been interested in the forces of Nurgle and the Death Guard for as long as I've been into 40k, so this year I've slowly taken it upon myself to start collecting a small but unique corrupted Chaos force. Perhaps I'm wrong in saying this, but I'm actually one of the few people that preferred the old Death Guard combat patrol to the new one, and while the rules are still available, I decided to start seeing if I could proxy everything in it, from the Herald of Nurgle himself to a host of 30 Poxwalkers. When my local GW didn't have Typhus in stock, I decided to pick up a Lord of Plagues instead, to see what I could do with him. I'm a big fan of when this faction is depicted as not only diseased, but industrial as well. Combining that with the box head from The Evil Within, this arguable inconvenience turned into one of my favourite projects yet, the Techno Lord of Pollution. It won't win any awards, but it's easily the most effort and time I've put into a single character model in a long time. My idea was that he uses biomechanical and warp-tainted technology to transfer his victims' suffering into real-world environmental corruption. Oh, and let me know if you recognise the model I used for this little mutant slave here. Next we have the models from the new Kill Team starter set. I did the Space Marines up as Dark Angels, more on them on another video, and the Plague Marines as a desert-based warband carrying on the theme of industrial decay, appropriately titled The Vessels of the Living Rust. While I'll probably do some more Plague Marines in the classic green scheme at some stage, this warmer palette was a nice way of differentiating them from the aforementioned Dark Angels that made up the opposing force in the box. Moving on, we have the Poxwalkers. I 3D printed about 40 of these guys and speed painted them following an excellent tutorial from Midwinter Minis. A few of them were a tad overcured, so they ended up a little brittle, but the ones that broke I ended up just treating as battle damaged or crawling, like this flag bearer at the front. Speaking of curing errors, we now reach the tragic portion of the video. As those who've been keeping an eye on my channel this year know, I was extra excited to get my hands on my very own Great Unclean one. It's always been one of my favourite models, so I was delighted to print my very own. It looked awesome, I really enjoyed the painting process, but as I was fairly new to resin printing at the time, I didn't pay special attention to properly curing its interior supports. So after a month or so, it was a leaky, melty mess that required proper disposal. Seemed kind of ironic to have a statue of a disgusting plague demon become a literal health hazard before my very eyes. Oh well, we live and learn. In my search for another spectacular beast to add to my army, I began devising the lore for a goddess of demonic proportion. Counteracting the more paternal aspect of Nurgle, I devised a character that would act as a mother figure to all the Nurglings, who is worshipped by the Techno Lord of Pollution. With 6 3D prints, parts from 12 separate model kits, heaps of hand sculpting, and upwards of 5 different types of glue, I ended up with this greater demon of Nurgle, the Mother of Plagues, another Japanese horror game inspired monstrosity. Now some will say it looks just like a gory mess of random parts, and those people would be right, but it's my gory mess of random parts, and it's covered in cigar-smoking Nurglings. Let me know what you think this could proxy as on the tabletop. Last but not least, we have another little project I couldn't get out of my head until it was made manifest, and that was my Chaos-corrupted Optimus Prime. My headcanon for this crossover was that the Techno Lord managed to develop some kind of virus capable of corrupting the Matrix of Leadership. For the model itself, I bought a cheap Blockies Transformers kit that's actually a pretty decent scale for tabletop, and then I did texture pastes, battle damage, spare parts, Yoo-hoo glue, jewellery chains, and even an old sock. I may use it as a soul grinder or defiler, but even if I don't end up adding it to my army, it was a super fun experiment in weathering, recycling and kit bashing. And alongside the Gellerpox infected kill team I finished last year, that's about it for my Death Guard army, if you could even call it an army. Thank you so much for listening to me break down a few of my favourite projects, and let me know what you're working on. I'll probably get the new Death Guard Combat Patrol at some stage in the future, and I'm sure the Chaos Knights I'm working on will have a few Nurgly elements in there somewhere. Then that just leaves Mortarion, and the addictive cycle continues.